Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing some frequently asked questions that I usually get asked about buying my first home. So I hope it's informative. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. And yeah, that's it really. Let's get into it. I decided to buy a house. Well, I decided I wanted to get onto the property ladder young, and I decided that around the age of 16. So when I was 16, I kind of created a vision board of what I wanted to achieve in my life until maybe around 40. So on that vision board, I put things like buying my first home, what I wanted to study, what I wanted my starting salary to be after graduating, when I wanted to get married, when I wanted to have kids, things like that. And obviously God has his own plans but I feel like it's good to be prepared because yeah, you're supposed to write your vision. So I wrote down my vision of the things that I wanted, and on that board I wanted to own my first home by the age of 23. By God's grace I was able to do it. So yeah, I decided when I was 16, and then when I was 23, just before I was about to turn 24, so a bit of a cheat, but yeah, when I was 23, in March of 2017, I completed on my first house. So yeah. I saved by having two separate accounts, current accounts. So I had one current account that was for my disposable income, and then one current account that I would use for my savings for the house deposit. So I probably should have had an ISA, and we will talk about that on another video, but let me be honest with you and tell you what I actually did. It may not have been the smartest thing, it probably wasn't the smartest thing, but this is what I did. So I had two current accounts. The second current account was a Halifax reward account, and when I had that, they were doing 5% cash back if you put in £200. So basically my monthly salary would just go into that account. Yeah, so my monthly salary would go there and I would watch it grow. Basically I'll just transfer the money into that current account, have access to it. I would put in £1,000 every month, but because it was a current account, this was also something that's negative of using current accounts to save. I could take money out, so sometimes I would feel like I've put too much in. I maybe put £1,000 in when I should have only put £800. A lot of the time, guys, I'll be honest with you, that £1,000 changed to £800, and I would do £800 a month rather than the 1,000. And yeah, so I felt like because I kept dipping into it and looking at my what I had and what my target was, I felt as though I'm not going to reach this goal by the age of 23, which is my target. So I need a new job. Simple as that. I need a new job that can give me a higher amount, almost basically double the amount that I'm saving, so that I can actually hit my target. I started looking for a new job, and I got a new job, and by having that new job I was able to save 2k every month. Keep in mind, guys, that I didn't pay rent at home. I was blessed, my parents allowed me to live at home rent free, so this is probably why I know these amounts sound quite large, but that's the reason why I was able to do it, because I didn't pay rent at home. I paid council tax only, and my parents were fine with that. So that's the way I contributed to my household. So then I started saving 2k a month. I got a new job. We'll talk about like jobs, but I work in finance basically, and yeah, I started saving 2k a month, and then eventually I had the deposit to buy a house. Now, speaking of my parents, a lot of people always ask me, what did my parents say? I'm African, I am Nigerian, so my parents obviously, as an African female, they want you to stay at home until you get married. I have sisters, older sisters, 2 older sisters and 1 younger sister. My 2 older sisters got on the property ladder young as well. At first my parents weren't exactly on board with the idea of me moving out to live by myself. They were telling me that I should rent it out, I should wait, things like that. But eventually they got on board with the idea of me living by myself, and I've been doing so for over a year now. Yeah, and it's great. They eventually got on board. I guess you just have to be persistent. You have to let them know that this is what you want and that you're able to do this alone. There's no need for you to wait, really. I could have stayed at home and rented this space out. There are technicalities behind that in terms of it not being legal to get a residential mortgage and rent it out, but we won't discuss that on camera. Halifax have this great thing called the mortgage calculator. Well, I shouldn't just say Halifax. All banks, high street banks have them. So if you go on their website and you type in or if you go on Google and you type in mortgage calculator, lots of different banks will come up with their own version. But I found that the Halifax one was probably the easiest one to navigate. So what I did was I put in, at the time, so this was before I got my new job, I put in my target goal salary so I would know exactly the amount that they would be willing to lend me if I got this salary. So I started off saying like, if I earned 40k, how much would they give me? And then it was like, if I earned 45k, how much would they give me? So I found out that if I got a job that paid me 45k, then they would lend me £214,000. I'm not sure if this is the same, but I'm going to insert a screen recording of me navigating through the website so you can all see what I did. So if you put in 45k, then they'll lend you £215,000, 214,750 or something like that. And then if that's how much they lend you, adding on your 10% deposit, you could get a house that was around 237 or something like that. I know my maths is probably failing me, but that's the roundabout figures. So I knew that I needed a new job that paid around that amount. So I knew that's what the amount that I needed to save, and then I basically gave myself the very minimum that I could live on and not suffer. Well, I can say not suffer, but I wasn't allowed to go shopping at Zara, and Zara's like my favourite shop. So I couldn't do a lot of like shopping. Basically, I couldn't shop the way I wanted to shop. Like packing your own lunch and taking that to work. I won't lie, I didn't do that all the time, but I knew the way I am, and so I factored that into the amount that I needed. So in that case, I saved 2k every month until I got my amount that I needed. Then I went to the bank and asked them to provide me with a mortgage in principle. We'll talk about the technical terms of what the banks use and things like that. Maybe in another video, if you guys find that helpful, we can do that, don't mind. I would say my mortgage and my bills come to around £1,000 or just over £1,000 every month. So that would include electricity, home insurance, car insurance, the mortgage obviously, water. Oh my gosh, guys, if you didn't know, you have to pay for sewage, so the water that leaves the house as well as the water that comes into the house. It's being an adult. Adulting is hard, you know, it's hard. But anyway, yeah, so all of those total around the 1k mark, 1,001, something along those lines. And the way that I manage it is the day after or a couple of days after my salary comes out, all my bills come out, and what I'm left with is my disposable income, so I know that's mine to save or to spend. And I think that for me personally, that's the best way to do it, because otherwise I don't want to get to a certain day of the month and find out that, oh, I thought I've paid all my bills and I've gone shopping and now I don't have enough to pay the water bill. No, everything comes out soon after my salary. This one is funny. So everyone always asks me whether I get lonely living by myself. No. That's a simple answer. No, I don't. I'm an introvert, so I love being by myself. I love my own company. When I lived at home, I'll basically come back from work, say hi to my parents, go upstairs to my room and watch shows all day until I have to go to work the next day. So now it's kind of just like my room is bigger. I have more rooms. So I like being by myself. I like watching shows maybe in my living room, and then sometimes I'll watch shows in my bedroom, or I can do whatever I want. I like the freedom of doing whatever I want. Nobody telling me, come and wash plates, all of that stuff. No, I love it. I don't feel lonely. Yeah, that's the simple answer. No, I don't. I did not use Help to Buy. Now, we'll probably do a video on the pros and cons of Help to Buy, because I personally feel as though there are some cons to it, but I do see the upside to it too. But yeah, no, I didn't use Help to Buy. And one of the major reasons for that, other than the fact that the cons to it, is that I don't live in a new build, and the Help to Buy at the moment is for new build properties only. So my house isn't new, isn't brand new, isn't a new build. So I couldn't have used Help to Buy for it. Yes and no. I would say yes, in terms of the fact that I live in a house, and that's something that I really wanted. So originally I made an offer that was accepted on a flat, and then I pulled out because I found this house and I fell in love with it the moment that I came in. I asked them to take it off the market straight away. The day that they put it on the market, the next day they took it off, because I came and I was like, I want it now. It's my ideal first home in terms of the fact that it's a house. I like that it's 2-bedroom. I like that it's got a new feel. I liked the interior decor when I came in, so I didn't have to do too much to it. But in terms of the area that I'm in, I would have probably wanted to be... There was another area basically that I had put an offer in on a flat, and that was my ideal place to live, but I couldn't afford a house in that area. I could only afford a flat in that area, so I had to compromise. And for me, it was more important for me to have a house than to live in that area, and I currently live like 10 minutes from that area, so it doesn't bother me too much. I like the fact that I chose this house, so yeah, I feel like I compromised a little bit, but not too much, because I'm happy with what I have. I would say save. That's the first and foremost most important thing, is for you to save. Make sure you're saving with a purpose though. So in terms of doing your research, that would probably be point 2, do your research. Things like the mortgage calculator, going into the bank and asking to speak with a mortgage advisor, things like that can be really helpful in order for you to know what you're saving towards. If you have no end goal, then you don't know really what you're doing with your money. You're just putting it aside. You need to remind yourself every time that you really want to buy something and you're just like, oh, really, what the hell am I saving for? You need to remind yourself that this is your target, this is why you're saving, and it's for like the benefit of your future. I think it's also important for you to build up your credit score. So I signed up to things like Experian, and I received my credit score on a monthly basis. A lot of people think that credit cards are negative, but you need a credit card in order to build up your credit score, so get one. Plain and simple, get one. And the limit that they give you, only use around 30% of it. It's not good for you to use the whole amount, because obviously it shows reliance on that card for you to live your day-to-day life, so that doesn't build up your credit score, it tarnishes it. But if you use your credit card responsibly, you buy things and then you pay it back soon after, maybe the same day, you already have the money in your current account, and really all you're doing is transferring that when you get home, that's perfectly fine. Like, that helps you, that will build up your credit score. So make sure you're monitoring the way your credit is going, so that when you actually do have enough money and you go to the bank to ask them for your mortgage in principle, that your credit score isn't going to negatively impact you, even though you have that money in your account. Maybe nobody wants to lend to you despite you have the deposit, and we don't want that situation to happen. So keep an eye on your credit score. I think it's also important to note that for many people, their first home isn't their forever home. So you can make compromises. For me, it was the location. People can make other compromises, that maybe I wanted a really huge kitchen and this kitchen is half the size. This is your first home. It's an investment. You're likely to reap returns on it in the future. So I would say note down the things that are a no deal, like I'm not gonna purchase a house if it doesn't have all of these features, and then also things that I can budge on. I think that's important to note, that you can compromise, because the money that you can make from the house eventually in the long term is your goal. Really, it's an investment that you should be happy with, completely happy with, but it's an investment at the end of the day. And property, I feel like, is a really great investment. I love houses, but we'll get to know a bit more about me. So those are all the questions that I'm usually asked. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative. If you have any other questions, leave them down below and I will answer them in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. Yeah, I've done it now. All right, let me edit this ish.